Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me. It's September 4th, 2024. It is Wednesday. That means it is also Discord Day. So thank you kindly for joining me here. You can also join us in the discussion there is after the live 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the United States, about an hour after the market closes. So that way we can discuss some of the things that have gone on, some other topics. You can come in and just chat if you like. You don't have to speak. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them either in the comments or come in and post there so that we can have a chat about it. So let's get into the markets. There was quite a bit going on. First off, the MMRI, our favored risk indicator, is dropping a bit, pulled back 241 right now, and the fear greed meter is back into neutral territory after yesterday. So, what caused this? There was quite a bit pullback in the market yesterday, was significant enough. And a lot of this, looking at the 10-year yield and relative strength of the dollar, as I was speaking about yesterday, they basically gained strength and that put pressure on stocks. There were also a couple of specific news, but what we've got basically is the volatility index shooting up. We've got gold under pressure, but still above the 2,500 level, very strong still remaining. We've got oil is dropping. We'll talk about the demand on that as well as production for a couple of the countries. And then we've also got silver down 28.33. So right now it's in a buy zone between 27, 28 for me. Personally, not financial advice, you can do what you like. We've also got cryptocurrencies have dropped below that 58 level. It's holding right around, right above the 56 level. The next one, as I said before, would be 52. If it breaks that major support at 52, could go down to 48 if we're lucky. So this story down here talking about the US Fed rate cut could push Bitcoin down 20%. I don't think we're going to get that fortunate. I'll definitely be buying that dip if it happens. However, I do expect a bit more pullback, probably not just in cryptocurrencies, but in the stock market in general. It looks like that is what probabilities are favoring. Now, a little bit forward, the way that markets work historically and the higher chances are that we'll see a bit of recovery, probably what they call a dead cat bounce before heading back lower. We've still got a lot of weakness in here, and I'll talk about the triggers in a moment. Now, we've got a former Fed official saying investors can get distracted by bouncing ball, quote unquote, of economic data. So basically, what he's coming out and saying is that investors are watching the very short movements, shiny objects, getting distracted easily and not watching the big picture or staying focused. And I agree with that. That's why a lot of retailers get bounced out. So with this, we'll watch this big picture. The sentiment right now is causing a lot of money to pour into the debt market, into the bonds. And we're watching the results of this in the yields. So, with the yields moving, someone is buying an awful lot of this debt in order for it to move in this fashion. Now, for the most parts, usually the Federal Reserve buying back their own debt because they can print for themselves. So, I urge you, that's why I always keep the silver here to buy real assets, silver, cryptocurrencies, stocks. I believe will have a recovery, but still weak today. So, caution on that. With this in our calendar that we're looking forward to now, we've been speaking about this also. Inflation is now taking a backseat to the jobs numbers. So, with this morning prior to the market open, we've got the US trade deficit. Now, trade deficit is telling the truth about what's going on with the economy, and it is a huge deficit at the moment and growing. This is showing that there is this great imbalance that is coming forward. Okay, with this, we're getting 10 a.m. the job openings and factory orders. So, more reports. Tomorrow, Thursday, prior to market open, is the ADP employment and the jobless claims. So that could be market moving, probably in the positive direction. We know their job numbers are fake, doesn't matter, they revise them later. But what's important is that when these numbers come out, it's what they use as the narrative for the action that they want to take. So, want to speak a little bit about stock market yesterday, what happened. So you can see the charts for the most part, a little bit bloody. Had quite a bit of a pullback. A lot of this was on Nvidia. Got served a subpoena from the DOJ, basically going after antitrust. So once Nvidia got hit, caused a bit of weakness. Also had a couple of other reports coming out that weren't very good. So it kind of hit more of a broad sell-off. So was significant in amount to actually pay attention to. However, I don't know that it's done. We'll have to watch two things, your price action and your volume for a turnaround. Okay. So with this, we've got more earnings coming out today. We'll be watching those. I want to mention Salesforce because this just came out not long ago. They have plans to acquire an artificial intelligence specialist called Tenix. So with this could be huge for them. I expect this to rally. AI is still kind of a buzzword in the market, even with them down. So let's see how that is affected. And I've got more about AI a little bit later. So a couple of things came out that I find just kind of exposing some of the corruption in a very light fashion, so to speak. So we've got the SEC, Security Exchange Commission, in the United States is fining 6 major credit rating agencies over their failure to keep electronic records. This doesn't sound like much on the surface. But what happened basically, they give them 49 million in fines, which is nothing more than a minor slap on the wrist to them. Now, they were saying that they reported, quote unquote, significant failures to keep their electronic communications. Now, the firms that were accused of this admitted to these facts, and they said that they did violate the record keeping provisions of federal securities laws. Now, they got a fine, and why I want to talk about this is because a large volume of the stocks must go through these rating agencies, and when they come out, if they say they're a buyer or something, has a huge effect. Now, they are corrupt and they can be purchased for their rating. So, of course, larger companies able to sway these companies. This happened in 2008. This was part of that market crash with the real estate when they were repackaging the loans. These agencies are guilty of overvaluing these loan packages, and that was a large contributor to what happened back then. So it's happening again. If you don't remember the name MERS, standing for Mortgage Electronic Rating System. So this again, it is another rhyme with what has happened in the past. Okay, I want to speak about another portion of corruption, and right now this is Ukraine. So if you were unaware, Rothschild helping Ukraine clinch debt restructuring. What does this mean? It means that basically the shareholders of their bonds and their loans that were given to them have agreed to take a 37% cut in the debt. Basically, they're not going to be paid back that 37%. They have just made this decision, and that is a large portion of that is taxpayer money for the United States and globally. So Reuters reported on this Tuesday, and they were saying basically that Kiev, back in 2017, appointed Rothschild as an advisor. So I want to bring this up because this is only the scratch on the surface of the corruption that lies there, and a lot of the reason why this is continuing. It is war economy, and it will continue because they've got much more that they want to do. Now, they were appointed 2017, but this has been going much longer. So I just want to bring that up. So as far as the real economy back in the United States, We've got the military, had one of the strongest militaries in the world, still do at the moment. But inflation is crushing the families, saying they're grasping at pennies. They're living paycheck to paycheck. And in the lower ranks, they cannot afford a living. Basically, they're saying that going out to eat at McDonald's is a luxury now, and they can't afford to do that very often. They're barely paying their bills. So, lower end, middle income, lower class getting shoved down. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've had a lot of people say that central bank digital currencies will not be adopted. Well, they will, because if all of these people are forced to be put on it, they will take it rather than starve. Moving forward, a little bit more on NVIDIA, because this is what happened yesterday. They posted a historic one-day loss, was huge. 279 billion was a significant pullback for them, 9.5%. And as it did this, took a lot of the other large stocks with them. The tech sector, basically, they're running the tech sector lately, and it hurt pretty badly. So I expect probably a little bit of continuance, at least until formal market open, could last back into it. And as I said, could have dead cat bounce. Okay, a couple of other stories I want to bring up. The first one is this. Said I was going to bring up artificial intelligence again. Well, we've got OpenAI. This is Sam Altman at it again. He's basically gathering money for tens of billions of dollars to include investors from the UAE, Canada, Korea, and Japan. Basically, what they're doing is the building of the substructures and the electrical backhauls to run artificial intelligence. Now, this is his key into getting ahead of any possible competitors. Once they get all this infrastructure in place, they'll basically mobilize and control it for OpenAI, which runs ChatGPT, which is the main one that he's gotten it forward for. So he's basically leveraging countries' loans and taxpayers' dollars in order to bolster his private company that is out for profit. Okay, next I want to bring up, this is a company that I think is kind of strengthening moving forward. It's called Aptos. They are network integrating Nillion for privacy preserving apps. So basically kind of a DeFi blockchain type that they're doing for privacy, private artificial intelligence assistance, and kind of basically making things a little bit easier for this. I've got this Free Republic of Liberland up. If any of you have heard about this, leave it in the comments. Something else I'm looking into. It looks very interesting. And I wanted to bring up one other thing. Well, actually, two. The first is this. Before I go into Putin, there is a controversial US facial recognition company called Clearview AI, artificial intelligence. Basically, they've been embraced by law enforcement agencies because they are gathering an illegal database containing billions of faces that they have scraped and taken from social media and the internet. So basically, they're using this database and then selling their facial recognition services to intelligence the agencies and investigative services such as law enforcement, who can then use this to identify people in random images. So illegal, got the Netherlands, don't like this, they're suing them. And I just wanted to bring up that company. And then finally, a lot of people, the ICC had urged Mongolia to arrest Putin upon arrival in Mongolia. Instead, they are basically got invited to the BRICS summit and said they're going to attend, and they welcomed Putin. So things shifting greatly. We've also got India's considering the Russian SWIFT alternative for the trade settlement. So as they trade in their native currencies, moving outside of the dollar at a more rapid pace, we're watching the Russian SWIFT system basically that they have built is growing in popularity. So as I was speaking about yesterday, the currencies and their balances will become key players very soon, within, I believe, within the next couple of months, possibly before then. So with this, I wish you all a wonderful day. Green day if you're trading, to watch your caution. And if you would, join us later in the Discord. Thank you kindly. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.